to my car. And then which one? You put your hands on me. You put your hands on me.
Hey! Stop! Hey! Stop! Please do not mess with him. Hey, why y'all hitting me? Why you? Stop!
Yeah, I'm gonna tase him.
Stop! Hey!
Just days into 2025, 29-year-old Olympic sprinter Fred Kerley and his girlfriend, Kluwe, aka DJ Sky High Baby, were arrested in Miami Beach following an incident that occurred at around 11:30 p.m. According to a police report, Kerley approached officers in an aggressive manner while expressing a concern about his car, which was parked nearby. He appeared to shove a cop in body cam footage of the interaction, automatically causing the situation to escalate. Multiple officers immediately jumped in to help subdue Kerley, who continued to resist despite being obviously outnumbered. One of the cops deployed his taser, enabling his colleagues to gain control of the situation. They handcuffed the athlete, who continued to yell at officers. In the body cam video, Kerley could be heard calling one of the officers weak. Rahman could also be heard yelling at officers throughout the ordeal. More specifically, she pleaded with the cops to stop and that Kerley wasn't doing anything wrong. Shortly after 4 o'clock in the morning, Kerley was booked into jail on 3 charges, including battery on a law enforcement officer and resisting arrest. He pleaded not guilty, and the police department has since fallen under scrutiny for its handling of the incident. Speaking with news station Local 10, former Miami-Dade police officer and practicing attorney Richard Diaz, who is not involved in the case, said that the incident was mishandled from the beginning. His views echoes the sentiments of Judge Mindy Glazer, who questioned the officer's conduct, although he denied seeing any evidence that race played a role in law enforcement's treatment of the defendant. Number 18. Charles McDowell. 37-year-old Charles Dion McDowell became a celebrity in his own right in 2018 when he went viral for his unusually wide neck following his arrest in Escambia County, Florida, on a slew of drug-related charges. Less than a week later, he was nabbed on additional drug charges following a high-speed police chase in Lee County, Alabama. By then, McDowell already had a criminal record, which included a previous stalking charge in Florida, and he has since continued to add to his rap sheet since becoming an overnight internet sensation. Capitalizing on his unique appearance, he pursued a short-lived rap career, in the meantime garnering over 1 million Instagram followers. But McDowell's tried-and-true method to achieving fame struck again in February of this year when he was arrested in Cherokee County, Georgia, on suspicion of multiple felonies. He's accused of sending inappropriate images of an adult victim to their minor children and is facing charges of transmission of video or photo of nudity without consent, electronically furnishing obscene material to a minor, and making harassing phone calls. McDowell was booked into custody and is reportedly held without bond, and while his mugshot has once again gone viral for his trademark tree trunk size neck, the specifics of his case are being kept under wraps due to a state law protecting the privacy of alleged abuse victims. Number 17. Robert Quinn. 34-year-old former Dallas Cowboys player Robert Quinn was arrested on Friday, January the 10th, for trying to flee the scene of a motor vehicle accident in North Charleston, South Carolina, while responding to the violent collision involving multiple vehicles at around 2 o'clock in the morning. Officers found Quinn in another person's vehicle with fresh bleeding wounds to the head and hand, which were consistent with injuries sustained during a car wreck. During the conversation that ensued, Quinn reportedly had slurred speech and refused to identify himself. Based on the findings of their investigation, law enforcement concluded that the ex-NFL star had crashed his Ford F-150 pickup truck while intoxicated while driving home from a nightclub, then attempted to leave the scene by calling someone for a ride. According to a police report, traffic camera footage showed Quinn's vehicle crossing a median, striking the side of a Honda Element, then hitting another pickup truck and a Chrysler 300, before coming to a stop on someone's property. When officers went to take Quinn into custody, he became combative, and the cops ended up using an arm bar in order to subdue and handcuff the suspect. Quinn was charged with reckless driving and leaving the scene of a collision with property damage. He was booked into custody shortly before 7 a.m. and was released later that day at around 1:30 p.m. with instructions to return to court in February. This wasn't Quinn's first time being arrested for allegedly trying to elude law enforcement after a car accident. Back in August 2023, he was charged with 7 crimes, including 1 count of assault and battery and multiple counts of hit and run following an incident in Summerville, South Carolina. His more recent case appears to be ongoing. Number 16. Deanna Pappas. On February 27th, 43-year-old former Bachelorette star Deanna Pappas was arrested in Santa Clarita, California, following an altercation with her ex-husband, 41-year-old Steven Staliano. The former couple, who finalized their divorce in June of 2024, following 11 years of marriage, was sharing joint custody of their children when the incident occurred. In a court declaration following the incident, Staliano's mother, Lynn, stated that she very clearly smelled alcohol on Pappas' breath at 7:30 in the morning while helping Pappas get her and Staliano's son ready for school. Steven subsequently accused Pappas of punching, slapping, and grabbing him in an unprovoked manner. Pappas, on the other hand, claimed that Staliano was falsely accusing her of alcoholism in an attempt to gain full custody of their 2 kids and alienate her from her children. She adamantly denied being an alcoholic, but claimed that Steven had essentially brainwashed their daughter into believing that she is. On the day of the incident in question, Pappas said that Steven had followed her around in a harassing manner while demanding to smell her breath for alcohol. She claimed that she locked herself inside her house only to return to her garage and find Steven in there. Pappas accused her former husband of grabbing and forcefully shoving her, prompting her to rush back inside and lock the door while waiting for law enforcement to arrive. Police arrested Pappas on a misdemeanor charge, and she was released later that day after posting $20,000 bail. She continues to stand by her innocence, claiming that she voluntarily submitted to drug and alcohol tests following her release and tested negative for both. Number 15. Ray J. 43-year-old William Ray Norwood Jr., aka Ray J, was briefly detained on March 13th following a heated fight with his wife of 9 years, 39-year-old Princess Love. The altercation occurred less than a month after the pair announced their impending divorce for the 4th time. The divorce had been called off 3 times in the past, but most recently in March of 2023, but it looks like the split is for real this time. According to reports, police responded to the couple's residence after receiving a call from Princess, who said that Norwood had returned home from touring and became aggressive while under the influence. Officers handcuffed Norwood and placed him in the backseat of a cruiser while they worked to figure out what exactly had happened. After speaking with both parties, they concluded that no crimes had been committed and released Norwood, who could be heard thanking the officers for their handling of the situation after being freed. Police recorded a domestic violence incident report and left the scene, and the divorce is still on as far as anyone knows. Number 14. Casey Deidrick. Best known for playing Chad Demira in the popular soap opera Days of Our Lives, actor Casey Deidrick was arrested in Tennessee for allegedly assaulting his girlfriend and taking her phone. The 37-year-old was taken into custody on Sunday, February 2nd by the Davidson County Sheriff's Office after deputies were called to the couple's Nashville home. According to an arrest warrant, Deidrick told law enforcement that he and his girlfriend had argued after he caught her secretly recording their conversation. He reportedly admitted to taking the phone but accused his girlfriend of wrapping her hands around his neck. Officers noted in a report that they did not observe any signs of such an assault taking place, and the alleged victim denied recording her conversation with Deidrick. She claimed that she had cowered in a corner during the argument and accused Deidrick of wrapping her in a bear hug from behind before snatching her phone out of her hand. Furthermore, the woman stated that Deidrick refused to give the phone back after she said she wanted to call the police, only returning the device after she agreed to move out that very same day. Deidrick was released on a $2,500 bond after being booked into custody on misdemeanor charges of domestic assault and interference with a 911 call. Number 13. Eric Mabius. Ugly Betty star Eric Mabius was arrested in Nassau County, Florida, on February 20th after a confrontation at a bar spiraled out of control. Footage of the incident appeared to show a verbal altercation between a man and a woman who was sitting next to Mabius at an establishment north of Jacksonville known as The Goat. In the video, the woman could be seen spitting in the man's face, and the man appeared to reciprocate her actions. Both Mabius and another female jumped into the fray, with Mabius swinging his phone wildly and falling on top of the 2 women. He was pulled away from the altercation and restrained by a group of male witnesses who did not appear to be involved but decided to intervene when they saw what was happening. Both Mabius and his female companion reportedly sustained injuries, which are evident in Mabius's booking photo. The actor is facing misdemeanor charges of battery and resisting law enforcement without violence. Number 12. Aleska Genesis. Venezuelan model and reality TV star Aleska Genesis was arrested by Mexican authorities in March, just moments after being eliminated from the Spanish-language version of Big Brother, La Casa de los Famosos All-Stars. The 33-year-old was leaving the show's house on March 10th when she was met by law enforcement, who took her into custody based on allegations that she participated in the gang-related theft of luxury watches. And she's not being accused by just anybody, but by big-time casino mogul Francisco Javier Rodriguez Borgio, who claims that Genesis and her sister Michelle Roxana stole an estimated $1 million worth of his belongings. During an interview with Univision reporter Jordi Martin, Rodriguez Borgio said that the theft occurred while Roxana was living with him. He described the sisters as complete thieves, while the sisters' family accused Rodriguez Borgio of having Genesis falsely detained after threatening to do so. Genesis was released the day after her arrest and has since taken to social media to proclaim her innocence. She remains free and continues to deny any wrongdoing as the legal proceedings against her continue. In a post, Genesis claimed that her rights had been violated in the most unjust manner. She said that the experience has left her deeply scarred and that she needs time to heal. Meanwhile, Rodriguez Borgio is standing firmly by his claim that Genesis and Roxana committed serious offenses against him. Number 11. Ben Cleveland. The overconsumption of alcohol seems to be a common theme when it comes to celebrity arrests, and 26-year-old Baltimore Ravens offensive lineman Ben Cleveland is no exception. The 6'7", 315-pound LFL star was nabbed by Baldwin County Sheriff's deputies during a traffic stop in Milledgeville, Georgia, where he was pulled over on February 12th on suspicion of driving under the influence. Cleveland caught law enforcement's attention at around 10:30 p.m. when a deputy noticed that his Ford F-250 pickup truck was failing to stay in its lane. According to an arrest report, he was swerving so badly that he nearly drove into a ditch. A breathalyzer revealed a blood alcohol content of 0.178, which is more than twice the legal limit of 0.08, and Cleveland failed a field sobriety test. He reportedly admitted to having 3 to 4 beers at a nearby country club and showed various signs of intoxication, including glossy eyes and an odor of booze. A second breathalyzer showed a BAC of 0.161, which is still more than twice the legal limit, and Cleveland was cited for DUI and failure to maintain lane. Number 10. Autumn Daly. 52-year-old reality TV star Autumn Daly got her break as a contestant on the 2001 season of Big Brother 2, but she's been plagued by legal problems in recent years, making her past hopes for a future in showbiz seem like little more than a distant dream. Daly's most recent encounter with law enforcement came on February 6th when she was arrested by sheriff's deputies in Denton County, Texas, for violating a community watch agreement stemming from a previous case. The community watch agreement was imposed in July of 2022 after Daly pleaded guilty to first-degree theft. As a condition of her supervision, she's supposed to refrain from breaking the law, but she's been arrested several times since the order went into effect, including in December 2023 when Daly was caught stealing between $30,000 and $150,000 from an individual. She was ordered to pay $175,000 in restitution to the victim in that particular case in the form of monthly installments of around $1,500, but she missed 6 consecutive payments in 2024. During that same time period, Daly also failed to pay a $60 monthly supervision fee. Additionally, she did not complete her 240 hours of mandated community service or a court-ordered cognitive behavioral treatment course, and she failed to undergo a required drug and alcohol evaluation. Despite falling behind on her payments, Daly managed to post a $20,000 surety bond. She's currently free while awaiting her next court date, which is scheduled for April, and will remain free as long as she avoids additional legal trouble between now and then. When contacted by TMZ for comment, Daly said that the incident was simply a rebook on the same charge, not anything new. Her defense attorney did not respond to the outlet's request for comment. Number 9. Michelle Manziel. In early March, former NFL quarterback Johnny Manziel's mother, Michelle, was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence in Kerrville, Texas, where she was pulled over at around 10 p.m. for having a broken tail light. According to police, the 55-year-old displayed various signs of intoxication, including bloodshot eyes, an unsteady balance, and an odor of alcohol on her breath. Michelle reportedly refused to take a breathalyzer and showed multiple signs of inebriation during what's known as a horizontal gaze nystagmus check, which is used to identify if someone is drunk based on their eye movement. She was booked into custody on a DUI charge and was later released after posting $7,500 bail. Michelle's attorney declined to comment on the matter when contacted by TMZ, and Johnny Manziel has remained tight-lipped about his mother's arrest, despite continuing to make public appearances. Number 8. BigXthaPlug. 26-year-old Xavier Landon, better known as BigXthaPlug, has made a name for himself in recent years as one of the rap industry's fastest rising stars. He's also established a reputation for breaking the law owing to his various arrests over the last 3 years. Landon was most recently arrested on February 26th for a marijuana possession charge in Arlington, Texas. Officers found the marijuana after noticing the smell of cannabis during a traffic stop for expired tags and determining that they had sufficient probable cause to search the rapper's vehicle, in addition to finding a leafy green substance in the center console and a handgun in the passenger door pocket. The cops found marijuana on Landham's passenger, 22-year-old Cleodist Landham, who already had an outstanding warrant out for his arrest. Both Landhams were booked into the Arlington City Jail. Xavier has since been released from custody, and his case appears to be ongoing. He's previously served jail time in 2022 for marijuana and weapons charges, during which time he wrote some of his hit music while in solitary confinement. One can only hope that he'll continue to make great music, minus the incarceration factor this time around. Number 7. Chris Kluwe. 43-year-old Christopher James Kluwe has worn many hats when it comes to his roles in the spotlight, including as a former NFL punter, a writer, and a social activist. It was the latter of the three that landed the ex-Minnesota Viking in trouble on February 18th, when he was arrested at a city council meeting in Huntington Beach, California. According to witnesses, Kluwe announced his intention to protest the implementation of a MAGA plaque at the city's library by committing civil disobedience. During his speech, he likened President Trump's MAGA movement to Nazism. He also accused the movement of standing for resegregation and racism, as well as censorship and book bans. Kluwe then began walking toward council members while receiving cheers from the gallery, prompting police officers to handcuff him and remove him from the meeting. And while he does not appear to be facing any severe legal repercussions for his actions, he's paying the price in the form of job loss. Just days after the incident, he was fired from his coaching job at Edison High School. Kluwe has since gone national with his anti-Trump sentiments, stating during an interview with The Guardian that he hopes the incident will inspire others to resist. Furthermore, he accused the city of failing to listen to the community, stating they want attention so that they can get more power, but they don't want to do the actual work of making the community better. Number 6. Michael Lohan. Michael Lohan, the 64-year-old father of actress Lindsay Lohan, is no stranger to controversy. In his latest headline-making move, he was arrested in Harris County, Texas, on a felony charge of continuous family violence. According to law enforcement, Lohan flipped his estranged wife, 42-year-old Kate Major, out of a chair at the couple's residence, leaving her with visible bruising. Police learned about the incident several days later when Major noticed Lohan in the parking lot while at a medical appointment and became worried that he was following her. A 911 call was placed and Major told a responding deputy about the chair incident, resulted in Lohan's arrest at his home later that day. Lohan was booked into the Harris County Jail and was later released after posting a $30,000 bond. Responding to TMZ's request for comment, he claimed that Major is the real abuser and accused her of setting him up, stating that she initially accused him of stalking and made up the chair incident when the stalking allegation failed to hold water. Lohan also said that he has video evidence corroborating his claims, but the outcome of the case and whether he manages to prove his innocence remain to be seen. Number 5. Michael Wilhoite. 38-year-old former NFL player and Denver Broncos linebacker coach Michael Wilhoite was arrested on February 22nd for allegedly assaulting a police officer. He was taken into custody following an incident at the Denver airport, where he got into an argument with a police officer who told him not to leave his car unattended. According to reports, Wilhoite told the cop to shut the F up. When the officer repeated the command, Wilhoite reportedly told him to shut the F up again and chest bumped him, prompting the officer to shove the former pro football player. Wilhoite then punched the cop and is now facing charges of second-degree assault on a police officer, obstruction of a police officer, and criminal mischief. When news of the incident first broke courtesy of TMZ, a representative for the Broncos stated that they were aware of an incident and were in the process of gathering information. 10 days after the arrest, head coach Sean Payton told 9 News reporter Mike Kliss that he had fired Wilhoite, stating, "After thorough discussions as an organization, I met with Michael Wilhoite and informed him we have decided to part ways. We recognize the serious nature of the allegations against him and believe this is the best course of action at this time." Payton went on to express his appreciation for Wilhoite's contributions to the team and said that he is confident the recently fired colleague will move forward in a positive direction. Number 4. J-Rock. Grammy Award-winning rapper Johnny Reed McKenzie Jr., better known as J-Rock, is facing a felony gun charge following his arrest for trespassing at a Los Angeles housing project in mid-March. Police took him into custody at the Nickerson Gardens housing complex where he grew up shortly before 5:30 p.m. on suspicion of trespassing and drinking in public. McKenzie initially fled the scene but was stopped by officers who searched his car and found a gun. He's now facing a felony charge for being a felon in possession of a firearm and could face up to 3 years behind bars if convicted as charged. In footage of the encounter, McKenzie could be heard saying, "You don't even know what I was drinking." He continued to yell as Multiple officers dragged him away from the scene. His car was impounded, and records show that he has since bonded out of custody. McKinsey has a criminal past. He was previously arrested in 2009 in the same community where his more recent arrest took place, but he had largely avoided run-ins with the law in the 15 years since his career began to take flight. Number 3. Wes Scantlin. 52-year-old Puddle of Mud frontman Wesley Reed Scantlin was arrested during the early morning hours of March 11th following a fight at his Torrance, California apartment. Police responded to the scene at around 3 o'clock in the morning and learned from talking to Scantlin and his girlfriend that a verbal argument had escalated into physical violence. Scantlin's girlfriend reportedly had visible marks on her arms, and officers found a small amount of drugs in Scantlin's possession while searching him. He was booked into custody on felony charges of domestic violence and possession of a controlled substance, and is currently awaiting his next court hearing from behind bars, with bond set at $20,000. Representatives for Scantlin did not respond to TMZ's request for comment. Today's topic was requested by Daly Ashohat 1320. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Marcus Jordan. In early February, the oldest son of basketball legend Michael Jordan was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving and other crimes after getting his Lamborghini Urus stuck on some train tracks in Maitland, Florida. Responding officers observed signs of intoxication, but Jordan reportedly refused the breathalyzer and played with the so-called famous dad card, which can be seen in body cam footage of his interactions with law enforcement. He also performed poorly on field sobriety tests, furthering the suspicion that he was under the influence.
I'm Michael Jordan's son. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just trying to get home, and I made a wrong turn.
Jordan was arrested on suspicion of driving while intoxicated with property damage, ketamine possession, and resisting an officer without violence. He pleaded not guilty to the charges, and in mid-March, news headlines reported that he had admitted to having a substance abuse problem. According to court filings, Jordan offered to waive his right to a speedy trial if the judge would consider allowing him to enter a substance abuse program. The defendant acknowledged that he needs help overcoming his misuse of alcohol and other substances, and made it clear that he's open to attending treatment as part of a potential resolution to his case. Documents suggest that he's hoping to enter a pre-trial diversion program, which would enable him to avoid any criminal convictions in the event that he successfully completes any court-ordered requirements. Jordan has offered limited commentary to the public regarding his arrest. A few days after the incident, he wrote in an Instagram post that he appreciated everyone reaching out, but that he wouldn't be saying anything more about his recent media stories or personal life. He finished his statement by once again expressing appreciation for his followers' concerns and thanking them for their kind understanding. Stick around after number 1 to also watch our release from a while back about when falling from grace goes wrong. That one includes many more celebs, some of whom committed serious crimes. Number 1. The Island Boys. The infamous Island Boys of TikTok. Florida twins Frankie and Alex Venegas have reportedly gone their separate ways after years of living together due to their inability to see eye to eye on certain things. News of their brotherly breakup came in late February following Frankie's arrest in Naples on gun and drug charges, but Frankie had reportedly moved out of he and Alex's home months earlier. Alex, aka Fly Soldier, told TMZ that the split came amid seemingly constant arguments between him and Frankie, aka Cody Yak Red, stemming from lifestyle differences. He explained that he and his brother are on much different paths and that he's become a family man. And while Alex said he'll always be there for Frankie, much like he has been in the past by covering his brother's legal fees, he claimed that Frankie has accused him of failing to have his back during times of need. While not much information is available regarding Frankie's arrest and current court case, it appears unlikely that he'll be seeking help from Alex anytime soon. According to the most recent available updates, the brothers are barely speaking to one another, leaving Alex hopeful that they'll eventually reunite after they both do some admittedly necessary growing up. Number 7. Isaiah Stokes. On February the 7th of 2021, a man was gunned down in broad daylight in Queens, New York City. A hail of bullets came down upon 37-year-old Tyrone Jones as he sat in a white rented Jeep Grand Cherokee in Forest Hills. He immediately succumbed to his wounds after being struck by multiple bullets in the face and head. The attack was captured by surveillance cameras, and the gunman was identified as actor Isaiah Stokes, who'd starred in the TV series Power, Law & Order SVU, and The Americans. Stokes, who was in his early 40s at the time, had a criminal record and gang affiliations.
While a motive for the shooting wasn't officially confirmed, a police source told New York Daily News that the two men had previously fought over a woman. 4 months before the shooting, a physical altercation was reported between them at Jones's birthday party in Long Island City nightclub after the latter had made advances towards Stokes' girlfriend. On the day of the shooting, Jones was waiting for a woman, but it's unclear if she was connected to Stokes. The gunman was eventually charged with murder, facing 25 years to life if convicted. Number 6. Anthony Weiner. From January of 1999 until June of 2011, U.S. politician Anthony Weiner represented New York's 9th Congressional District. Then on May the 11th of 2011, it emerged that Weiner had used his Twitter to send a woman a link containing a revealing photo of himself. While initially denying that he'd been responsible, Weiner subsequently held a conference, during which he'd admitted to having sent explicit messages and photos to at least 6 women over a 3-year period. He formally resigned from Congress on June the 21st, but later returned to politics as a New York City mayoral candidate. In July of 2013, he was at the center of another sexting scandal involving 22-year-old Indiana woman Sydney Leathers. She had initially come into contact with Weiner to express her disapproval of his extramarital escapades. The disgraced congressman sent her explicit photos under the alias Carlos Danger. In 2016, the New York Post reported that Weiner had sent similar content to another woman, and his wife subsequently announced her intention to separate from him. In September of that same year, several of Weiner's devices were confiscated after reports that he'd had inappropriate online exchanges with an underage girl from North Carolina. Following negotiations, he pleaded guilty to a single charge of transferring obscene material to a minor. In November of 2017, he was sentenced to 21 months in prison and ordered to register as an offender for the rest of his life. Number 5. Courtney Clenny. Popular OnlyFans and Instagram model Courtney Clenny was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in late August of 2022 in connection to the death of her boyfriend, Christian Toby Obomseli. The incident had occurred on April the 3rd of that same year at the high-rise Miami condo that the couple shared. Sources familiar with their relationship reported that their relationship was turbulent and that it would often devolve into violence, although it wasn't clear who'd been the main aggressor. Building managers reportedly wanted to evict them from the building because of their recurring rows. Surveillance footage from the elevator showed Clenny repeatedly hitting Obomseli in the head and face in late February, roughly 2 months before his death. The man pushed her away, but at no point retaliated with strikes of his own. On the day of the incident, Clenny called 911, claiming 27-year-old Obomseli had been stabbed and needed help. She told the dispatcher that he was dying and was heard on the call saying, "I'm so sorry, baby." Video footage, subsequently released by TMZ, showed her talking to the authorities on the condo's balcony, only wearing a bra and covered in her boyfriend's blood. She was at one point seen letting her dog lick the blood off her face. Clenny claimed she'd acted in self-defense after Obomseli had attacked her and grabbed her by the throat. As per the arrest affidavit, she'd thrown a knife at Obomseli, fatally hitting him in the chest from 10 feet away. A medical examiner would rule that the man's wound, which was 3 inches deep, would have been caused by forceful pressure. As the investigation progressed, the police found further evidence to support a murder charge, and Clenny was arrested while at a rehab clinic on Hawaii's Big Island, where she was getting treatment for substance abuse and PTSD. Number 4. Patrick Cannon. Within roughly 6 months of becoming the 56th mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina, on March the 26th of 2014, Patrick Cannon was arrested on public corruption charges of theft and bribery. The 47-year-old's political career had been gaining momentum for years. Rising from the city's public housing projects, he had become the youngest Charlotte City Council member in the city's history, at the age of 26. In 2010, the FBI had launched a sting operation aimed at detecting fraudulent activity within the council. Cannon was approached by undercover agents posing as business people. Throughout their interactions, he was proven to have accepted over $48,000 in cash, airline tickets, a hotel room, and the use of a luxury apartment in exchange for political favors. Even after he was elected mayor, Cannon persisted to engage in the shady dealings. One agent had been posing as a Las Vegas real estate developer, looking to build mixed-use developments along a recently approved streetcar line in Charlotte. According to an affidavit, Cannon promised to use an upcoming meeting with President Obama to press the undercover agent's interests. On June the 3rd of 2014, he pleaded guilty to honest services wire fraud and was sentenced to 44 months in prison. Following his release and after getting his rights restored, Cannon sought redemption by running for city council in the spring of 2022. He finished last in the election. Number 3. Mystical. In the early 2000s, Michael Lawrence Tyler, better known by his rap name, Mystical, was on the cusp of a promising career. His 2001 album, Tarantula, had been nominated for a Grammy Award, and in 2003, it starred in the movie 13 Dead Men. That same year, however, he was indicted on charges of battery and extortion for assaulting and abusing his hairstylist. In Louisiana, aided by his bodyguards, Tyler had forced the woman to perform intimate acts on him after accusing her of stealing $80,000 in checks. Tyler maintained that the relations had been consensual, but a videotape of the incident was found at his home in the aftermath. A guilty plea was negotiated, which kept the tape from being presented as evidence, and Tyler was expecting to receive probation. However, in a dramatic twist, the judge decided to view the footage during sentencing. The rapper's prior drug and gun possession arrests were factored into the sentencing, and he was ordered to serve 6 years in prison. He was released in 2010 and had to register as an offender. While unable to return to his previous career form, Tyler seemed to be recovering well, as he was signed to prominent hip-hop label Cash Money Records in 2016. The following year, however, he was once again charged with abuse. Tyler was held at Louisiana's Cato Correctional Center for 18 months until he was able to post bond, but the charges were ultimately dismissed. Most recently, on July the 31st of 2022, he was arrested in Ascension Parish, Louisiana. Not many details regarding the incident were disclosed, but once again, his alleged crimes included assault as well as simple criminal damage to property, false imprisonment, domestic abuse, battery, and strangulation. Number 2. Bobby Fischer. Chess grandmaster Bobby Fischer is often listed among the best players of all time, having won a record of 8 US championships by the age of 14. His title match against the USSR's Boris Spassky at the 1972 World Championship, which he won, attracted more attention than any other chess event in history, as it was touted as a Cold War-era confrontation. Fischer didn't play another competitive match in public for 2 decades, but his re-emergence would also mark the beginning of his downfall. Fischer played a rematch with Spassky in 1992 in Belgrade, Yugoslavia. There was a UN embargo on the country in effect at the time, which included sanctions on commercial activities. The United States Department of the Treasury warned Fischer that he'd be in violation of President George H.W. Bush's executive order by taking part in the match. Fischer responded during the first scheduled press conference on September the 1st, 1992, when in front of the international press, he spat on the US order, saying, "This is my reply." Upon the match's completion, which Fischer won, US federal officials issued a warrant for his arrest. He became a fugitive, living in Hungary and then in the Philippines. He sparked further ire when, on September the 12th of 2001, he advocated for extremist mass violence against the US, claiming, "I applaud the act." Fischer followed it up with profoundly anti-Semitic statements. saying that he hoped the US would be taken over by the military and that they'll close down all the synagogues, arrest all the Jews, and execute hundreds of thousands of Jewish ringleaders. In 2004, he was arrested for trying to book a flight in Tokyo with his revoked US passport. Fisher faced deportation and punishment for the decades-long sanctions violations, but was eventually granted an alien's passport by Icelandic authorities. He eventually became a full citizen and lived in the country until his death in 2008. Number 1. Robert Blake. Actor Robert Blake began working in the film industry as a child, before starring in the 1967 film In Cold Blood and on the TV series Beretta in the 1970s, with his career described as one of the longest in Hollywood history. Blake's fall from grace was marked by the murder of his wife, Bonnie Lee Bakley, which occurred on May the 4th of 2001. The couple had gone to dinner at an LA restaurant, outside of which, as she sat in the passenger seat of the actor's Dodge Stealth, Bakley was executed via a gunshot to the head. Blake maintained that he wasn't present when the shooting occurred, as he'd gone back to the restaurant to retrieve a gun he'd left behind. Investigators found that it wasn't the weapon used in Bakley's murder. During the trial that followed, the prosecution proposed that Blake and his longtime bodyguard, Earl Caldwell, had contracted retired stuntmen to carry out Bakley's murder. Blake's alleged motive had been that the woman had tricked him into fathering a child to trap him in a loveless marriage and gain access to his wealth. Her friends and relatives reported she was celebrity-obsessed. Bakley was still in a relationship with Christian Brando, son of acting great Marlon Brando, when she started dating Blake. She had a daughter and told both men they were the father, although a paternity test proved the child to be Blake's. The actor agreed to marry Bakley provided she signed a temporary custody agreement. Blake's defense pointed to Bakley's checkered past as a source of many potential enemies who would have had apparent motive to harm her, including Brando. She'd been married 9 times prior to meeting Blake and had been running a lucrative Lonely Hearts scam before and throughout her marriage to the actor. It involved posting ads in magazines for a male companion and then tricking men into sending her money. Blake was ultimately acquitted of the murder in 2005, but found liable of Bakley's wrongful death later that same year, in a civil trial launched by the woman's children. A pivotal moment during the proceedings was when Caldwell's girlfriend was asked directly if she believed the bodyguard and Blake had been involved in the killing, to which she tearfully and unexpectedly replied, yes. Blake was ordered to pay $30 million while Bakley's murder remained officially unsolved. Thanks for watching. Would you rather spend 1 year in prison or spend 5 years with the Island Boys as your roommates? And why? Let us know in the comments section below.